Hi, I'm Anthony from Learning to Play the Guitar. In this video I'm going to show you how to play the song Hope by the Mahavishnu Orchestra from their 1973 album Birds of Fire. The Mahavishnu Orchestra was a 70s fusion band featuring the guitar player John Mclaughlin, who previously played with people like Miles Davis and Tony Williams. I chose this tune as it's fairly simple to play, just using chord arpeggios, but the chords here are very strange and unusual, building tension as they go through the chord progression. John Mclaughlin liked to use very strange chords hinting at two different key centers or sort of ambiguous harmony, which makes these tunes really interesting to play. The chords in this song are very strange and unusual. They don't follow what is called a diatonic harmony. They don't follow as like a set scale like G major or A minor or anything like that. They're very chromatic sounding, and some of them have some very strange choices of bass notes compared to what the chord might be on top. So first off, we're going to run through the chord shapes here, and then we'll come back and deal with the picking for the arpeggio pattern over the 7/8 time signature. So first off, we have a D flat major chord with F in the bass, and so I'm going to play this with a bar all the way across fret 1. So we have F in the bass and a D flat triad with the fret 1 bar. So that's the first chord. Now we slide the shape up 2 frets to play an E flat chord, maybe E flat major in my head I suppose, because we have a G in the bass, which is the third of an E flat chord. So same basic shape, but now it's fret 3, and we're only going to pluck 3 strings here. Next we have a G sort of power chord with a 0 G string and a 3D here with my first finger, and now we have the strange choice of an A flat note in the bass, creating some tension. Then we jump to an E7 sharp 9, Hendrix's favourite chord a la from Purple Haze, but played in a slightly different way with an open E string and a 1-3-3 on the bottom 3 strings. That way, Purple Haze. Then we're going to jump to a very unrelated sounding chord, which is an A in the bass to me with an E flat triad on top, which is that D chord triangle, 1 fret over, so a 3-4-3 and an in tab there with an open A. So we have these sort of strange, unsettling sounding chords. We've sort of been moving up bit by bit chromatically. Then we have this little 3-note riff, or 4-note if we count the next note over the bar line, which is A sharp, B to a C, or 0, 1, 2, 3. Now this bass note will now form the bass note of C, but it's actually underneath a D flat major triad, so you could also call this a D flat major 7 with the 7th in the bass, but maybe D flat major with C in the bass is easier to comprehend. So we have this sound, so it sounds sort of very hopeful. Thus the song title, Hope, I suppose. So we have obviously that shape. Next one, we're going to slide across to all these little major triad triangle shapes, but I'm going to flip my fingers around because now I want this number 4 D flat note here on the A string in the bass, and then we're going to play an E flat triad, again using the triangle shape but now with this finger instead, so we end up with this sound. And these chords will hang out over the rest of the bar versus the other ones which weren't hanging out. Then we're going to slide up again, but now we're going to flip back to that other shape from before, but now up to fret 4, so 4-5-4 down there, and again this is like an E triad down the bottom here, the 4-5-4. Number 6 is an E flat bass note, so again sort of this weird polychord sort of sound I suppose, if you want to label it that, or you could treat this as an E flat major 7 with a 7th in the bass. Interesting sort of sound. And then the final chord again flips back, and we've sort of built up this major triad sound with alternating bass notes. Now we're going to go to fret 6 with that little bar, the 7 here, and then the 7 here with that finger, because now I need the second finger up here to play this E note, and this is an E flat major with an E in the bass to my head. So that's all the wonderful weirdness of the chord shapes. But now let's go through the actual picking pattern in a bit more detail here with the tab. So we are now dealing with the idea of 7/8 in the bar, so 7/8 notes. So it has a slightly lopsided feel versus your standard 4/4 rock feel. And so as a result, some of these arpeggios will have 4 notes, some will have 3 in the first half of the riff or the pattern here. So bar 1, we have 4 notes for the D flat F chord and 3 for the E flat G chord. So as a result, we have this. 4 notes and then 3 notes. So that's the first bar. Second bar, again, we're going to chop things up in halves or in sections. So we have 3 notes for the first chord, 4 for the second. So the first chord is that funny G power chord type thing with an A flat in the bass, which is this guy. 3 notes here. One thing I should probably mention too, arpeggios pick down on the top bass strings in a sense and up on the bottom. So we're always going down, down, up in this case. Now 4 notes will fill in the rest of the bar here, and 8 notes for the E7 sharp 9, which of course is this thing. So that was that little section. Now we're going to go to the A with the weird E flat triangle on top. This is 4 notes. Sounds very discordant and strange, building tension, and now we've got 3 notes to fill in. This now takes us to the final section, or the second half of the main pattern for this tune, is now the major triads with the alternating bass notes in between. So now we have 4 notes, and then the 4th note will hang out for an extra 3 8th notes on the end. So if I'm going to count this, we're going to go the D flat C thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the next one will be the same, but is E flat D flat, which is this guy, of course. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Move and flip. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Move and flip. Up to here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So one of the interesting things about the Mahavishnu Orchestra as a band is that they featured a great violin player called Jerry Goodman. While I can play bad drums, bad keyboards, and even bad saxophone, I can't play violin at all. So here I'm going to play the violin parts on the guitar. Okay, so since I don't play violin, I can play those notes on the guitar instead. So now we are going to play basically the same chords as the guitar part, but 1 octave higher. So instead of having, for example, the 1, 2, 1, as we had in the guitar arpeggio part, I'm going to shove it all the way up to here at fret 13, 14, 13. And we're also not going to worry about the initial bass notes, so the violin part doesn't worry about that low F or the low G notes, which makes it a little bit easier. And as we aren't playing the bass notes anymore, we can let those last notes ring out and sing a bit more on top of the other parts. So here we go. First bit, the D flat chord is the 13, 14, 13 across the G, B, E strings. And that sort of sound. Next bit for the E flat chord, just the 2 notes here, 15, 16 on the G, B strings. Vibrato as well on the ending notes on all these little parts. Now for the G thing, we've got a 12 and a 15 on the GB strings. Now we've got the E7 sharp 9, no E here, but we're going to go G sharp, D, G natural, which is 13, 15, 15 across the 3 strings again. that sound. Then the E flat triad again, but now it's 3 notes versus 2 as we did previously, so 15, 16, 15 GB E strings again. And letting that one hang out for the rest of the bar. Well, underneath that we'd have building up to that C bass note on the guitar part and the keyboard. Now we're at the final section. So here it's a little bit different to the guitar part, as you only play one arpeggio pattern and then we're sustaining a single note for the rest of the tune. So the 3 notes for the D flat C bar are going to be 13, 14, 18, super high note there. And then for the rest of it, I'm going to hit that note at the start of every bar because I haven't got a violin bow, so I have to give it some sustain by plucking it again. So for each bar of 7, 8, I'm going to pluck that same 18 B flat note. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And the dog loves that note. So the whole thing together. Then, and the last one, the 13, 14, 18. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Subscribe to the Learning to Play the Guitar YouTube channel for more lessons. And don't forget to click on the bell to receive notifications when I upload a new video. You can also check out my books and more lessons at my website, learningtoplaytheguitar.net. Thanks for watching and keep practicing.